Welcome back, everyone. Long time no see to you all. It's only been probably exactly 24 hours or so since the last mega stream. That was a good one yesterday. Yeah, suggest everyone take a look at that one. Catch the replay getting on it. I tweeted out an extra time as well. I had a lot of good streams this past week. The one with Ben Sierra on the Hex data was really good too. We did the tax AMA with Carlos and Crypty and Papa Boner. That was a really good one to kick the week off as well. But boy, it's been a great week. We have weeks like that. Some weeks it's basically just me doing a bunch of solo streams, and some weeks, we have people on that like to come on and talk about and say smart things. So no promises, no expectations, but we try to provide that free, unlimited content, unlimited in the sense of I do it whenever I can and feel like doing it in that way. So tends to work out pretty well so far. Anyways, today is open mic. So I have the link in the chat. If you'd like to join, feel free. I've already got two gentlemen in the back I'm going to bring in here in a moment. Again, if you've never been on the show or otherwise, just ask that you turn on video, accountability, all that stuff. If I know you, that's of course okay. Otherwise, and we'll just if we get a few people, we'll rotate through. If we don't, we'll keep the crew here as long as they want to be, and probably go for about an hour or so, depending on what we got to talk about. And otherwise, got a few things here, and I know that folks here want to talk about other stuff going on in the ecosystem as well. So, anyways, without further ado, get to chat in just a moment. Welcome back to the show, Neil for T-Shares, and for the first time, Dave. How's it going, Dave? And Neil.
Hey, Max.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, you guys want to give, Neil, you were on yesterday, maybe a super quick, who are you? And then Dave can go up to you.
Yeah, sure. I'm Neil for T-Shares, and I'm a part of the Tetra team. We're developing the Tetra, which is a software as a service, soon to be deployed on PulseChain to automate your DeFi.
Sweet.
All right. My name is Dave. I joined Haunted on his team. I'm more, I don't know if we want to call up a team. It's more Haunted's genius, but we have a sounding board, a group of people that he bounces ideas off of, and I'm one of those select few. And my degree is in mathematics. I taught math for 34 years, and I've also been part of the I was on the RH planning team. Thanks to Jesse, he invited me into the group. We've had a lot of conversations with Jesse over at Power City. So I'm a backroom kind of guy for privacy and security reasons. I don't show my face, but I'm proud of those of you guys who do want to stand out there and dox yourself, but I'd prefer to be anonymous. I got 3 grandbabies and I don't want anybody knowing where I'm at.
I hear you. That's totally respectable. I think a lot of people, we have founders, we have really popular people in the community who never show their face on the stream. I don't see that, a lot of people find that suspicious or otherwise read into it. I don't. I think I try to judge people, again, more on the content of their character than what they look like or whether they show their face or not. So if you're saying smart stuff, I could care less about if you want to, what kind of privacy or otherwise. But very cool to know that you're a math major. That's something that I love having all the again, smart people or professional people in the ecosystem, because that just makes us wiser, faster, better, stronger, all that stuff. We need everyone we can get, but it's cool to hear that people have their own niches and really bring these I always talk about, you want to provide utility to the community, whatever you're good at, whatever you can do that, bring your utility, musician, mathematics, development, otherwise. And we have one of the most well-rounded communities I've ever seen in crypto. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the RH ecosystem is filled with a bunch of high IQ guys and gals.
Just a bunch of strong people too. Based and bullish, says Chad. The Chad of Chads. Welcome back. Yeah. So maybe we'll get into it, Dave, first, since I know we'll probably talk about Tetra a bit as well. But Dave, what do you want to bring up and talk about an open mic?
I'd like to talk about the UPTOKEN and the UPX token, which just finished its mint process on November 7th, and the tokenomics behind those. But prior to getting into the tokenomics of UPTOKEN, do you think the audience is aware of how people like Robert Kiyosaki or Grant Cardone acquired their riches?
I'm not sure if they are or not, but feel free
Yeah.
to base
Yeah.
this on.
Well, I mean, it was basically real estate. They both, jumped into real estate. And how do you take whatever assets you have and generate millions or billions for those individuals? And they use leverage. And the concept of leverage is being offered to us through liquid loans and power cities through those two lending protocols. So in the RH ecosystem over here on PulseChain, we're going to have access to interest-free loans with zero payments. Now, Robert Kiyosaki and Grant Cardone would have loved to have had interest-free loans with collateral that they had. They would have done much better. They had to pay interest. So, but in our ecosystem, we're going to be able to borrow against our assets, whether it's Pulse or PulseX. You can also do that in Buck's fiat protocol over there, but you do have a small yield you have to pay those guys, or an interest payment you have to pay for borrowing against those assets. So crypto is unique in that they're trying to bring the traditional markets, the functionality that we have over in traditional markets, they brought them into the crypto world at yet a better rate for the individual investor. So, those guys who took their real estate fortunes and they borrowed against their assets and they leveraged up and they got a second house and then a third house or an apartment complex, and they just kept, leveraging up on those assets. Well, we have that opportunity with liquid loans in Power City. Those people who don't want to put in all that kind of work in the traditional world, they had the option of joining a REIT, real estate investment trust. Throw your money in there, let somebody else do all the hard work, but you get a dividend. Well, Haunted kind of taken that kind of a concept with the up and up X tokens. You got a group of people who, I don't want to say they threw their money in, but they sacrificed like Richard would have done. Or in this last phase, they just minted. They traded one Pulse token for one UpX token. It was just a straight mint. And basically, you're going to throw all your money into this common pool, or we sacrifice. Sorry, got to say that right in the world of DeFi. We sacrifice, but there's a benevolent wallet over there that has all these assets that were sacrificed, and that benevolent wallet is going to use those assets to leverage up and compound and grow the number of Pulse that it has. And at the same point in time, it's going to go create a yield. In the rental market, you would have a house and you'd collect rent on it. And those guys like Cardone and Kiyosaki would take the revenue they're making off their assets and compound that. Well, in crypto, we have yield opportunities through stability pools or staking pools with both liquid loans and the earn protocol. And so some of those assets that were sacrificed will be used to create a yield. And instead of giving a dividend back to those people that sacrificed, that yield is going to be used to buy and burn the tokens. So the yield that's generated through staking the loan token or staking the earn token will be taken into the ecosystem of Up and UpX, purchase UpX off the market and burn those. Now that's not a direct dividend, but what it does is it inflates the price of the tokens you currently have. So Up and UpX they're finite supply tokens, kind of like a closed-end mutual fund. If you're familiar with traditional markets, there's only so many tokens printed, and as those tokens start being burnt off the market, there's still a net asset value associated with that market cap that you have for Up and UpX, and you get a bigger and bigger share of that. So the burn mechanism that's installed in the tokenomics for Up and UpX will allow the inflation of the price for the tokens that remain as the supply diminishes. So that's kind of a general overview of what Up and UpX do, but there's a lot of safe veil features within those protocols, so that if Pulse or PulseX are having a dip, or if Up or UpX are having a dip, there are safety features that come into play that help prop the price of the token back up. Or if you have a big market dumper, you have some wallet that wants to dump everything and push the price down. Well, the yield being generated by the assets of the benevolent wallets is not associated with the price of Up token. It's associated with the yield being given on liquid loans and the earn protocol Power City. So by having a disjoint between the token you're using to purchase the Up and Up tokens, it helps solidify the price structure of what we're expecting out of those two tokens.
So it sounds like, so it's basically like you have this big pool funds that is deploying the Honda strategy. Is that
It's
like the,
yeah, the meat of the entire strategy is a little bit complex because the benevolent wallet's planning to take the assets that it has, and it's going to open up a couple of vaults. One vault is it's a buy and burn vault using the Honda strategy, and as it takes a loan out, it's going to take 75% of that loan, throw it back into the vault so that the assets grow, just like in the real estate market. You want another house, additional houses, but then it's going to take 25% of that loan and go and buy and burn the UP tokens. The second vault is going to have a similar feature where every time it takes a loan, 75% goes back into the vault to compound those assets to leverage up. 25% is going to take the USDL that was just minted or the PXDC that was just minted and put that into the stability pool, the yield generation machine of both protocols. And then then of 60% of the assets that are held by the benevolent wallet are sitting in the stability pool in the yield generation portion of the flow chart, so that at any point in time, if the price of Pulse starts to drop and one of those vaults or both of those vaults get close to that liquidation point, and we have like a 70% drop in the price of Pulse. Now, a 70% price drop does not liquidate either account, but what the contract does is it initiates another two new vaults, a vault 1 and a vault 2, and now they're going to be able to do the haunted strategy as the price of Pulse starts to recover, and those vaults will then become hey, I'm collecting enough rent over here, or the price is appreciating on my assets, or the real estate market's going up, I can borrow against those and continue to compound.
Well, it just makes me think too about Tetra, because all these strategies such as haunted strategies sound like they're going to be automated in some way with Tetra. So is it, I guess,
had Tetra existed prior to going to a developer and trying to build the smart contracts yourself, I'm sure we'd have used the links within Tetra. We're really excited to see what Tetra offers us in terms of flexibility within the smart contracts that were already existing or in the development of.
Well, I'd like to hear from both of you too. Like, what are the advantages, disadvantages of, and the risk and stuff using Tetra for doing haunted strategy versus the pool? Is it like the bigger amount is the UP tokens secret sauce there too? And of course the other things you talked about, the burning and otherwise. But yeah, you guys want to talk about that?
Yeah, safe collateralization levels. On liquid loans, where they always Haunted talks about having 1,000% collateral so that you're really safe. Well, that would require $20,000 capital allotment into the vault, and most people in crypto don't have $20,000 worth of Pulse sitting at their disposal to go borrow against. So by sacrificing and pooling together assets, it makes it easier to go get those loans, get a bigger piece of the yield over in the stability pool and the staking pools. But yeah, I'd be really interested to see what Niels has for some of the options we could tap into.
Yeah, because I'll let you know, Dave, I don't know if you knew this, but me and Haunted worked together in the origination of the concept at the very beginning. So I did a little small strat for him as he announced it, and we talked back and forth. I'm real familiar with the details and how this works. And so he developed it since then, on his own. But the thing is, the big thing that y'all bring to the table is this pooling mechanism, which basically drives the price of Pulse up because it's such a large amount of money pushing the price of Pulse when you go back and do the haunted strategy. It helps a lot in the overall ecosystem. Eventually, Tetra will have those capabilities to pool the funds too. It'll take a little bit to develop the actual strategy just because of how our rollout's going to work. But we'll probably work in tandem, because if we're doing the same thing you're doing, but we use other people doing it, we're just going to make your token go up in value because Pulse is going to go up in value. So y'all will have a direct benefit of what Tetra's tools are being used for in the ecosystem, and UP token holders will be glad because much more bond for y'all.
Yeah, and the other, there are some protocols out there that they talk about sacrifices hurting the RH ecosystem, because everybody sacrificed a bunch of Pulse. What did the founders of that program do? They sold the Pulse so that they could fund their developers or whatever. The Pulse that's donated to us is actually getting locked up in vaults, so it's almost like an additional buy and burn for the entire ecosystem, because there's there's 60 billion Pulse that are never going to see the market. They're going to get locked up in vaults. They're going to be in a, using to borrow USDL so it can go into a staking pool. Same with the loan tokens that are earned through the protocols, or the PXDC tokens that are earned. Those are never going onto the market. So it's a net positive for the entire ecosystem, because none of the tokens generated or used by the benevolent wallet go back onto the market and damage price. We're not selling the assets we have. They're locked up.
Yeah, it's a true never selling concept. Yeah, that's important to push the price of and value of the overall ecosystem. I do have one question for you, Dave. There was something about that I thought since you're a math guy, have you looked at have y'all talked about the reality of the fact that there's 40% of the tokens going to be loan tokens going to be distributed day one when Liquid Loans launches, right? And at the $50 million sack, that's roughly $20 million worth of tokens. That's a lot of tokens in token count. So proportionally, what do you expect your yield to be out of the loan pool? You get in the fact that such a large amount there already. How do y'all have y'all looked and discussed that in detail?
Oh, absolutely. And part of that distribution you're talking about, I believe the first 42 days, they're giving out a little over 3 billion tokens per day to the liquidity providers. Mm-hmm. And I think it's 3.3 is the number I've been hearing. So 3.3 billion tokens a day are given out for the first 42 days to those who provide liquidity between USDL and Pulse. And you stake your PLP token onto their platform. Mm-hmm. So part of the benevolent wallets process is, hey, let's make sure we get in early on that so that we can get all of that yield, try to collect a bunch of loan. And additionally, an equal amount is going to be distributed to those in the stability pool. Well, having the assets we've acquired, having almost somewhere around $3 million worth of assets going into the stability pool, or a portion of those going in the stability pool, hoping to earn quite a few loan tokens in those first few weeks, so that we do end up with a decent percentage of the staking pool down in the loan token staking pool supply.
That's good, because that was always a wonder. But now here's a question. So I've always thought this, given the nature of how Liquid Loans operates, it's just they have a $2,000 minimum loan amount, which makes the 1,000% collateralization rate a roughly $22,000 pulse amount to start a loan if you want that rate, or half that if you do, say, 500%. So my question would be then, in the overall ecosystem, how many people or entities out there will be able to take a loan in the first place numerically? Because that's where the yield comes from for the loan staking pool, right, from the fees. So there's a finite amount of people with a finite amount of capital that can provide these loans. And so in the overall scheme of things, I wonder how that's going to play out in the market and the price performance of the loan staking pool just in general, because of the amount of borrowing that's in the protocol.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I think people are going to dip their toe in, those guys who do have the wallet size to go into Liquid Loans, because we've seen the launch of other protocols. I mean, we like to think that Liquid Loans comes out and they're the exception, and they launch flawlessly and everything goes well. But most guys, with the wallet size to go in there and take out a loan, they may only put in that minimum amount just to test it out and see what's going on. So yeah, I would think in the first week or two, you might see a minimal amount of loans being taken out, and so the fees would not be significant. But I think at the same point in time, that's the point where you can really earn an awful lot of loan token, because people are looking at the yield thinking like, oh, that's not worth my time.
Yeah, I think that's probably the reality is going to happen when people realize that, wait a minute, now we're splitting, say $100,000 worth of fees amongst, a lot of people with a lot of big bags who sacrificed. I mean, if the people who put in, say, $100,000, $200,000 on day one sack, they're going to, the lion's share of the pool fees. So
yeah,
people who have small amounts, say $500,000, $2,000, $3,000, they're going to get very little. They'll get pennies on their yield, more than likely at first. That's just the reality of of the math and how it works out. So
yeah,
I would say,
I'd
like to ask you one question though. So once the stability pool incentive is over, I'm assuming you're going to just take whatever's left over in the LP and then put it back in the vault, right?
Depending on the fees you're getting out of the liquidity pool itself. I mean, if the turnover within there is decent enough, if your LP fees, but yeah, the general idea is you're going to take that yield generating mechanism, and it will fluctuate over some time until we see where we want it. And then it's like, okay, this is going to be the best yield for us. And then, those benevolent wallet asset funds will move in that direction.
Did you catch the video yesterday, me and RHMax?
I did not, unfortunately.
Okay. So in with Tetris will have the opportunity through our new DEX aggregator called Omnus to arbitrage the stablecoin price through limit orders. Now, it's not automatic in a sense to do it for you, but you have to manually set it up. But the limit orders will deploy as the price hits the target points, right? So hopefully by time that those 42 days are up and all, where Tetra can help y'all, I would think, is to take your USDL you have in a stability pool, you can arbitrage it and earn fees in that spread for as long as y'all want until you're satisfied, and then put it in the stability pool then later on to earn extra. Build your stablecoin count up, then to earn fees or buy pulse and increase your vault size, whatever the best mechanism for your protocol. So that's something that Tetra can help y'all out with as well.
Yeah, arbitrage is going to be one of the bigger plays during those first 14 days when Liquid Loans does not have the redemption feature in, because we're fairly confident, looking at what happened over on Liquidity on the ETH side, the LUSD lost peg several times above and below. We're expecting the stablecoin to go above $1 in the initial stages, because as we've stated, there won't be a whole lot of people that are willing to go in there and put big loans up to mint USDL. So that what they're going to do is people will go in and say, well, I do want to be part of the ecosystem. Well, I don't want to really put my pulse in there and test it out, but I will go buy it on the market. So because people are buying USDL on the market so that they can go be part of the liquidity pool, we're expecting it to lose peg in a positive direction. You might pay, $1.08 for one USDL. And we have some funds set aside to where we can arb that back and forth during that first 2 weeks and try to increase our treasury size. So yeah, that is part of the play. And if that could be automated, that would be excellent.
Yeah, it can be through Omnus. That's what I'm saying. These are tools we're offering to the public, whoever wants to use them, y'all, anybody. So I think y'all have a good chance. And I think that the spread's going to be bigger than that, only because of the lack of liquidity that's going to exist in the beginning of the pool. Unless Liquid Loans themselves provide a ton of liquidity at the start. If it's small, it's like 100,000 or so. Well, and you talk about massive swings, up to maybe $1.50, USDL and down to 50 cents. You could have a big dollar swing within the middle in the first couple hours. So those are options that we can all take advantage of using these automated protocols like Omnus.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'll need to go back and watch a video and educate myself on those options. Appreciate it.
It's a DEX aggregator with limit orders. That's what it is.
That's out live already?
It'll be out Friday.
Okay, yeah, because I hadn't heard about it going live.
It comes out Friday. So those are things that y'all can take advantage of as a protocol with your funds. And then I'll be doing videos probably on Tuesday, Wednesday next week. I'll have one out showing how it operates on mainnet and stuff. People can see, how the functionality. Yeah. It's real simple. It's not complicated. But I'm sure Haunted knows about it. I mean, we talk to Haunted all the time. And,
yes.
And I'll be doing like strategies building on top of his concept, through Tetra too, to augment and go alongside what UPTOKEN's doing in the same way. Like probably aligning a swing trade concept inside the Haunted strategy to, to buy the dips, and rebuy back in and stuff like that. So there's ways to alter it and change it up to make it a little more, I say bulletproof, but just a little more, I guess, liquid or stable, so you don't have to worry about the violent swings in the price. So I think we're all working together on the same thing. We're protocol agnostic as a protocol, so we want to help everybody, and not just y'all. Any protocol welcome to come and use these tools to better their positions and increase the value for their customers.
Yeah. One of the bigger problems that all crypto has is the sellers. They come in there and it's like they want that 2x or that 3x, and everybody wants to exit on the top because they're afraid that there's they're going to be the last one to buy. Well, that's a beautiful part about UpX. You know, there's another guy coming in to buy the next day because the benevolent wallet's going to grow its assets and it's going to make a yield, and that yield is continually buying. So, you know, that one fear that all crypto holders have is pretty much eliminated with the design of the UP token and the benevolent wallet. It's kind of like if you had Richard and he was taking all of his DAI that he has out there and he was getting a yield on the DAI instead of just leaving it sit in the wallet, and he was taking that yield and he was buying his tokens. It's like, okay, we got somebody who's always buying, and we know that they're not going to be sold on top of our head. You know, it's not collecting a bag so they can dump on us. They're collecting a bag just to benefit the ecosystem. Like you were saying with Tetra, you're out there just to benefit people.
Well, I wanted to dig into that a little bit too about the, you know, centralization aspect of it. Is that something that, can you talk a little bit about maybe the criticisms or the risks and stuff that would be different with UpToken, UpX and such and then versus, you know, other more decentralized projects, tokens?
Yeah, well, the goal is we have a smart contract working on testnet. The goal is to have it decentralized, immutable, released, and so this smart contract has the assets, and everything's a public call function. So, you know, if the yield's been made today and there's, you know, a couple $100 worth of yield from the staking pool, just like the PulseX with the buy and burn, somebody can go in there, push the button, and those funds get, you know, initiated. That transfer and that burn happens. Same thing goes with the buy and burn vaults. Because if we have a drop in price, there's going to be another public call functions, because every time we have a buy and burn from the buy and burn vault, and let's say we took out a loan and we have a you know, $500 worth of USDL that's going to go buy up, you know, the loan, the UP token or the UpX token, depending on which protocol you happen to be in. There's a public call function. Well, 50% of that new loan's going to go into the public call function that anybody can use. The other 50% is going to be sitting into the fail safe, so that if the price of UP token does drop, somebody goes in there and pushes the button and we can activate those funds on a drop.
Yeah, I'm talking less about the risk of the loans part, and just again about the button pushing, right? Like that's the important thing people should be aware about if they're interested in it, right? Like it's not an automated it's not a contract doing all this stuff. There is entity or otherwise, like that isn't that the risk that people should factor in?
Yeah, well, no different than PulseX, because PulseX, you know, we have a buy and burn. There's a smart contract. The fees are collected. They're put in this address, and they're waiting to get activated. And somebody just has to hit it. So it is going to be a smart contract. It's immutable. There's not going to be any admin access to go in there and move funds or pull funds once everything's set up. Yeah, and for me, that's probably my biggest worry right now about UP and UpX is I want to make sure that we have a contract that's sound. So, you know, we've got to get that smart contract language out there, get the Pulse police, have it audited, because we are running it on the test net. But in the test net, it's really hard to take loans out and run the process because it's test net and it's fake money and people are doing crazy things over there. So you can't really see it in action.
Benevolent wallet, though, let's speak to that for a minute. Benevolent wallet, like that's probably, you know, that is the centralization piece, right?
Well, eventually that gets allocated in an address that nobody has access to. The smart contract will hold those funds.
Yeah, can you go into that? Like, again, if people are thinking the risk is benevolent wallet, if something happens to whoever controls that or whatever, if that's a risk, why is that not so much a risk or criticism or otherwise?
Well, it will not be a risk once the smart contract's launched, because all of those assets get put into a wallet that nobody has control over. The smart contract has those funds. They're allocated. Haunted Strategy's just automated doing its thing with that vault, and everything's just a contract call function. As soon as price of Pulse drops 70%, you can hit a button on the smart contract, and new vaults get opened up. The smart contract will take funds out of the stability pool, feed those two vaults, and everything takes off and running again. But there's no individual risk. It's nobody has the keys to this benevolent wallet once a smart contract goes live.
Once it goes live.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's still in development, just like, you know, most projects. They take some time. But yeah, you do have some exposure to, you know, benevolent wallet risk until the smart contract is live. But then the goal is to automate everything and make everything immutable. Nobody has control over the assets, and Haunted, the team, everybody could get, malaria and disappear. It would make a difference. It'd be just like HEX. It's just the contract runs. You're going to mint additional HEX every day.
I think it's important to talk about that, because I think that's been a concern. And it's like, well, if it's getting, shifted in a different direction, that is something to bring out, to be like, oh, actually it's different than just someone holding, the keys for years and years and years, for example. That's why I want to bring it up.
Yeah. Well, like all these projects, somebody has to start the ball rolling. So you have to have some, hands-on at first, hit the buttons, get it started, then push it down the hill, then it rolls out. But see, y'all could take Tetra and program all these call functions to automate, say once a day, the buy and burn happens, or whatever price point or you got in the vault or whatever. So it can be manually done. You can automate that through Tetra. So it's all completely automated then. You don't have to rely on somebody hitting a button.
Yeah, well, I think in the discussions with the community and the team, they like the idea of somebody being able to go in there and push the button and say, okay, I activated the buy and burn, just like we do on PulseX. It's like, somebody wants to pay that gas over there. Well, the smart contract's actually going to pay the gas on our end, but it's like, hey, that's it's like a video game. I get to hit the button, I get a little dopamine release. Hey, I'm active. I'm part of the contract.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Got a couple questions in the chat here I want to get to too. Bobby Huxelrod, do we have a final answer whether or not local loans will be available here in the U.S.?
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't it be? It's decentralized. I mean, it's
decentralized. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not confined to any one place.
Yeah, you're not KYC, and you're not asking them for permission. You're just connecting your wallet to their DApp and go push play. Isn't
there some dApps that say, if you're a resident of such and such country, click away or whatever like this? Maybe that's part of this, or think we'll have something like that with liquid loans, or just not have that.
I doubt it. I mean, nothing's been discussed that I could tell in any of the chat rooms or anything from CC or Walrus. So
yeah, and if you've seen Tom Emmer's last C-SPAN talk in front of Congress, we got some legislators out there really pushing for more freedom within the DeFi space and less regulation by the SEC. So yeah, I can't see that being an issue.
Yeah, hopefully I've seen some good stuff from Tom Emmer for sure, and hopefully something changes. If people yell enough and we have enough support up there, we'll get some, either reasonable legislation or at least not unreasonable legislation. I guess avoid those. Milson asked, how do we use Tetra to automate the Haunted strategy?
Well, just we would have a strategy built that would do the same thing. As UPTOKEN's internal processes are hard coded, it would just be done through Tetra smart contract technology. Same process, and then we could have it where you could customize how much. So you take a loan out and you have then this capital USDL. What do you do with it? You take a percentage of it and buy more Pulse and do the strategy that way, or you can take another percentage of it and do other things with it. Maybe you want to buy HEX. Maybe you want to go buy loan token with it, or maybe you want to go buy up a token with it, stuff like that. All these things are options that Tetra will have that will make the Haunted strategy a little more versatile to be implemented in the ecosystem.
Sure. What's up, Jay Gold? Yeah, again, I'm just asking a lot of these questions because I think people want to learn. We want to know. We want to understand. People again decide what they want to do based on the risk tolerance or otherwise with the project. But I think it's something that wasn't clear before is the benevolence gets more DeFi'd, more decentralized, moved over to the smart contract. Again, a great thing to highlight when people ask questions about different aspects. Crypto World, what happens if Pulse drops more than 70%? Does the vault get liquidated? I assume that's in the context of UPTOKEN.
Yeah, well, the initial vaults are designed to go 20% of the assets go into the buy and burn vault, 20% of the assets go into the stable pool vault, which is designed to compound and add to the number of stable coins we have in the stability pool, because 60% of the assets of the benevolent wallet are going to be dedicated to the stability pool, making that yield and using that yield to buy and burn the UPTOKENs. Well, if we do have a 70% drop in the price of Pulse, we're going to be able to take 60%, that 60% that's sitting down there, we're going to be able to remove 20% of that twice, so 40% of what's down there, and we'll open up 2 new vaults. And those vaults are designed to, again, run the same features as the original 2 vaults did. But if you're using a haunted strategy and the price of Pulse runs up, you're taking loans, but then all of a sudden you have a drop, there's no more loans coming out. You're just sitting there waiting for it to get back up to all-time high so you can take out another loan. Well, by opening up 2 new vaults down here at this new local low, wherever it is, 70% drop, might not be the bottom, but it's getting close to the bottom, Pulse. Even if we have a 90% drop, 70% most of the way there. We open up new vaults, and then when we do start climbing back up past that, we get to start taking out new loans for the compounding and making our assets grow again. So our vaults start getting bigger again, and we start buying and burning again.
Just got a comment here. Up and UPX False could say 9% drop. Okay. And then
yeah, because if it drops again, if we open up those 2 new vaults and then it's like, wait, we weren't done, Pulse is not done, it's going to have another 70% drop from there. Well, you still had what was left in the stability pool over there, which if you take 40% away from the 60%, you basically have taken 24% of it away of the original. So you still have, out of the original 60, you still have well over half of it still down there. You can take and open up a 3rd set of vaults down here at the new bottom, and those start buying and burning as you start running back up. So the design is such that they're fail safe, so that if the price of Pulse is not performing, we still have a chance of having vaults that are buying and burning. And this doesn't include the rent we're collecting from all of the stability pool and the staking pools, because those are just daily. You're getting a yield every day from the loan protocols, from Liquid Loans staking pool, or from Power City staking pool. You're going to get a daily yield from those, and that's going to be a constant buy and burn pressure. But those 2 vaults that are designed to buy and burn or add to the stability pool may not be compounding like you want them to if Pulse is going in a negative direction. But we have new vaults that are coming online, so that when it does start to recover, we're adding to the assets of the benevolent wallet.
Drop for a second. Sorry about that. Sweet Aussie says 1 billion USDT minted 1 hour ago. Well, are we going up? Are we going up, people? What was Sami saying?
We're tired of being down here. Yeah, we're tired of being down here.
We're tired of being down. I'll say that. I was watching a Sami video earlier, and he was saying that he wants to see 100 million coming over on the bridge, 100 million a month, something like that. I think something, which would, I think he was doing the moon math of like HEX $2 and stuff like that. But I can't remember the context. Don't quote me on that. But he was like, 100 million. I was just imagining 100 million a month coming over on the bridge. Yeah, maybe that's a question. Like, is there another indicator that would be more in going up than that much money coming over the bridge to Pulse Chain? Whoever wants to take it.
Well, that is the indicator. I mean, if money's not coming in, the price can only go up with the resources you have in the system. I mean, right now we're all just trading money around until new capital comes in. Nothing's really going to go up any significant amount. You just trade money around to different wallets.
I mean, we're going to be able to inflate ourselves with the minting of USDL and PXDC. We're going to mint our own little money over here. It's like, hey, let's get on the printing press and make some monopoly money, almost like what the Fed does. We're going to mint it. And so it's going to inflate everything and make it look like we've done something. But those are, for the most part, counterfeit dollars. You're just minting those off a printing press. Yeah, we do need that money to come across the bridge. Yeah, just a paper game. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The bridge value is what the value of Pulse Chain is.
Yep, exactly.
Well, but what about natives? Yeah. So how would you reconcile that with? Yeah, I was gonna say Coast. That's money coming in natively there. I mean, why wouldn't the PXDC and the USDL and otherwise, why wouldn't that count as part of the value?
Well, you couldn't exit out of the system. There's only 98 million you could take back across the bridge, or I think 3 million out of Coast. So okay. The entire ecosystem's only worth, it's only worth a little over $100 million.
Gotcha. That's right, because it's minted from the coins that are native on the platform.
Yep.
Gotcha. Hugh Hefner.
People forget that concept, of the value. Like, oh, look, we have all this money, but if you can't exit out, it's no real value. So, like, Coast is great, we love it. There's only 3 million tokens that exist. That means only $3 million can ever leave the system through that path.
Is there a certain number that CST could get to, that would be like, what is the ideal number, I guess? Like, what is it? What does the number of native stable coins backed by actual dollars on Pulse Chain? What is good? What is the definition of good for that?
All you can get.
Like 30
go.
million? If you're like 30 million,
No,
like, wow,
no, way more than
million.
that. You need like about a couple billion. No, we really need real value, and that's the whole point, right? That's the concept. You want to extract value out of the blockchain ecosystem into Pulse Chain. It's got to come through a bridge, through Coast, or some on ramp. Then that is then what's backing the value of all the tokens in the system.
Hear that, Coast? We need a million X out of you.
Yep, I mean, we really do.
Yeah. Well, I think the USDL and the PXDC are going to help us inflate our numbers over here a little bit, the paper gains, and it's going to look really good. We're going to see some green candles, and maybe that entices some people to come join us over here and start bridging assets in.
Exactly. That's exactly what needs to happen. And so the more you do it and the faster you do it, I think, with automation is going to be offered, well, I think that's going to really ramp up for us as a chain, our overall TVL in the future. So we'll probably start going really, really quickly once all this rolls out by the end of the year.
Said a question too. Sorry, I was distracted by chat. Appreciate chat's been pretty good. You guys been a little rowdy earlier. No, just kidding. You guys been great, but appreciate you. Chat's lively right now. Hugh Hefner, welcome back, Hugh. By the way, I hope you're doing well. Does Tetra take a percentage from each swap?
Yes, that's how it generates revenue. And the percentage is not set in stone. There was talk at first of 0.5%, which is 50 cents on every $100 anytime capital's moved. But that could be reduced. We're still discussing that right now. That's not set in stone, and so we'll just have to wait and see.
So and it's something we talked about yesterday. Again, I implore everyone to go watch me and Neil's stream yesterday, Making Money in Crypto #2. Super good. Where he talked about Omnus coming up. So, and if you're staking Tetra, so stake Tetra, you're getting the fees from both Omnus, which is the first cross-DEX limit order platform aggregator, and also from the platform fees for people deploying strategies and running them on the platform. So fees come from two different ones. Originally, it was just one, right? Before Omnus came along.
Yeah, Omnus had to be built to make the aggregator. I mean, to make the strategies function because of all the mess with OKX and change now and stuff. So we had to do our own. We just couldn't be relying on third parties.
Sure. Hugh says 300 mil per 18 months. That would be, I feel like we need more than that. If you're talking about the, I think that's where I thought somebody said 100 mil a month, but 300 mil. I mean, I don't know. Neil's not going to take it. I'm almost going to say I'm going to take it, but I'm going to trust Neil on the numbers here. We need to pump those up. $3 billion in 18 months. How about that?
I mean, the more you have, the better, obviously. But just like because of bond liquidity and all the the ETH and stuff that's over here is wrapped and that's bonded to everything. As it goes up in value, it'll bring associated value to the chain that way as well, indirectly. So you have that value, being bridged across through the bonded liquidity within the pairs. So there's that. As any of the token as well. So as Bitcoin goes up, ETH goes up, you'll have the value go up with all the associated tokens bonded in those pairs on Pulse Chain.
Gotcha. Just scrolling through here a second. What's up, Vets in Crypto? Good to see you. Don't we have another question? Yeah. So Vets got one. Tetra stake. What happens when one leaves the stake Tetra in expired pool? Any penalties for leaving in an old pool?
If you're talking about the Prism pools that are out now, that's just to earn more Tetra, and those have ended their yield. You can withdraw them at any time. There's no penalty. But now, to staking Tetra in the Tetra pools when we go live, there's no penalty. You come and go as you please. There's no in-stake penalty. It's your coins. Do what you want.
Gotcha. We need a Grayscale Pulse Chain ETF. Hey, Ethereum, Rocca Negra just filed for it. So pretty. You never know. Hey Tetra guy. I love the Hey Tetra guy. How do you automate things? I can't see anywhere to set up your automations.
It's coming. It's the product is called Stratus. It's our automation tool, and it will be made available to the public to consume and use at a later date. At first, when we roll out our dashboard, which is called Atlas, you'll have pre-made strategies made by us on the team you can consume and use. and we will roll out other strategies in the future, and we'll let people know what they're going to be and when they're going to roll out, so you can prepare yourselves. And then at a time when we think the market's ready and we're confident that the technology is functioning and it works good, because this is not, like I said yesterday, this is not a smart contract thing we're building. This is software we're building, allow you to interact with smart contracts. So this is a different level. So you're not going to a D app just to run a smart contract. You run a D app to, with your own keys, your own coins, run multiple smart contracts in an automated way. So it'll be there eventually. It's just going to take some time because we want to get this right on the rollout, and we want to make sure people don't get wrecked and don't want to take advantage of others once they get their hands on this technology.
So all I can see is a meme quote called Tetra. You know what? When you spell it like that, it looks like T-trap. Is it a trap, Neil? T-trap?
It's a trap of automation. Yeah, to give you your time back.
Yeah, you're getting trapped with more time.
But Omnus is launching though on this next Friday, and so it'll be out. You can start doing limit orders and using Dex Aggregator, and I'll have videos here next week showing that. And then we'll launch Atlas shortly, right there after that, and you'll have the dashboard, and you can start consuming these strategies that we're building. And so I think people are really going to enjoy that.
Yeah, 17th and 24th, 2 important dates in November for Tetra. What Oracle we use for aggregator? Is that just covered by Omnus?
Yeah, Omnus is the Oracle. It seeks out the pricing on all the pools, on all the dexes to execute the trades.
Gotcha.
Because all this is custom built. This is not a fork. So this is something Stu built from scratch.
Stu seems to have a galaxy brain. I'm going to go on a limb there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to drop this in the chat as well. This is something that, so if anyone caught the me and Ben Tierra stream on the Hex Data, super good stream this past Wednesday, I believe. During the stream, actually came up with, dare I open this live on stream? I haven't checked it for a while. Okay, nobody said anything yet. Okay, so I was kind of like, it's all just messed up. Don't do that, please. So this is if anyone wants to contribute, again, Ben's put a couple in there. I put one in there as well. I was going to put like the Hedron launch state and stuff. So essentially, why is this important? Why were we asking for to get these different events and data and stuff like that? Ben does a bunch of plotting of how things affect the price and the sentiment, and the staking, and all this stuff. He has all this data. And during the stream, it was the idea came about of like, hey, how do these events affect things? We can kind of see them. You can look on the chart. Oh, there's SEC number go down, and Pulse Chain. Richard tweets about this or live stream or whatever. Those are the type of things we want to gather a bunch of the major events. I mean, it could be some minor ones too, but to have those in this format, and then so you can put them together and then plot them and see. I'll do a stream with them, and we'll be like, okay, did this have any effect on the number of stakers? Does it have any effect on the price? Does it have any effect on all these other metrics that he has? So ask everyone, if you have events, please put them in there. I just tweeted this maybe a couple hours or so ago. But we could use some help from the community, putting a bunch of these just different notable things happening in there. I'm going to put some more in there myself as well. Yeah, these are just a couple example ones. Speaking of that, what do you guys think about notable things that you think had a difference or had an effect on the ecosystem numbers in the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, or even 4 years? We'll go back even Hex inception. What's been some notable events you suspect had an impact?
Well, every time Richard tweets has an impact, one way or the other. I mean, we've seen it's not very hard. You can go look. You can go back to the tweets. You'll see he tweets something, boom, price moves one way or the other. He ever said, "Oh, Pulse Chain is delayed," boom, right? You can feel everybody got down, right? Then he says, "Oh, it's about the launch." People got excited. It's about the launch. He goes, "Oh, it's delayed again." All the things with the narrative before Pulse Chain launched. You see the hex price move and the people's sentiment. It's not hard. It's just basically psychology. So big events like certain things, or let's say Richard puts out in the future, we're going to have a Pulse Chain, 1 year anniversary from now, in next May, right? I think it'd be a pretty big event, and people will probably pump the price because let's say he does the same thing he did with Hex birthday and gets out on stage, has a party and all somewhere. Of course, the price is going to pump. I mean, it's just because everybody's celebrating, and maybe we're in on the way up in the bull, halfway up or something by then. I mean, everybody be ecstatic. I mean, it's just. Yeah. It's pretty common. It's an obvious indicator. I mean, of course, you're looking at the past. What you got to do is you got to be able to do it in real time. watch his tweets and react accordingly, and then trade based upon what he says.
So that's the idea. The idea would be what historically has caused some kind of movement, whether, again, it could be price, it could be people. If he says, oh, you know, something, and a bunch of stakers go up after that, well, okay, that's interesting too. So looking at the past events, seeing what actually had an impact and maybe what didn't, like, that's interesting too, seeing what didn't have an impact. Even for him, it'd probably be informative. If he saw it, he'd be like, oh, wow, these are the things. I'm sure social media guy, like, he wants that kind of data to you know, do his influence as he wants to, or chooses not to either. So that, and then next time something like that happens, if you have the list of all that data, next time something like that happens, you're like, well, historically speaking, this is what happened before when something like this happened. And then maybe place bets, maybe do nothing. But I think that's the kind of data we're trying to gather here with this.
Yeah. Well, I think the Godwell's purchase was one of those events that that moved the market. Well, not just because of the price, but I think it moved attention. Probably got people's eyes over here.
Yep, exactly. And just what happens when in PulseChain, what happens when Liquid Loans launches? What's going to have the price of Pulse? It's going to have to go up. I mean, you just can't help but go up.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Well,
going to have a
go
positive.
down.
Well, what I'm saying, it's already hit most of the bottom, right? So it's going to go up.
Yeah.
How much? It's you know, obviously up to debate. But up tokens, your mechanic though is going to push the price up because you're buying more all the time, right? So in once we're running haunted strategies with Tetra by doing the same thing, we're going to push the price because we're always buying. It's all pressure. So these things
all that USDL, all the USDL that gets minted and the PXDC that gets minted, it's going somewhere. It's not going to sit. Nobody's going to mint that and then sit it in their wallet. And, it's like, okay, I'm just going to mint it and sit it here. They're going to put it to use. That's the idea of leverage.
Oh, arbitrage, one of the two. You'll be doing both. See, that's an opportunity that's going to be present itself. Like I said in yesterday's stream, you have with Tetras and Anonymous, you have two opportunities on two brand new stable coins coming to market to set limit orders and automate your purchases to arb that within the first instance of liquidity pools and make a pretty good profit if you're wise. So we get two shots at it, and then with what you're all doing, you're going to keep pushing the price up of the underlying assets. And then because Power Cities bring utility now to PulseX, it will finally get some traction and start going up too. But remember, because of bond liquidity, as soon as Liquid Loan launches, PulseX is going to go up as well because it's bonded. You just can't help it. That's the way it's going to go. And you'll have people be taking advantage of that and arbing Pulse and PulseX to try to get their better positions. So there'll be a lot of different plays happening with people in the market. Depends on what they have asset wise and how much dry powder they have and what they're willing to risk as far as type of tokens. Because you go one from the other, you just swap them out. But it's really almost a no lose situation if you stay within the blue chips and the stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, and as you talked about earlier, Liquid Loans had a $50 million sacrifice, and 20% of that, about 20 million, well, 40%, $20 million of that's going to hit the market as well. That's been locked up, and that capital's been sitting in the sidelines waiting to get released. So you're going to have $20 million worth of asset if it comes out at sack rate. That's going to hit the market. Plus, both companies are releasing an inflation token. They're going to release loan and earn token on the market.
There won't be. Wait, hold on. There won't be $20 million worth of loan coming out. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
I doubt very seriously be $20 million bonded to that loan token. I don't know what the liquidity pool is going to be, but I can promise you, if it's like every other one of these sacrifice projects, they are not going to take their sacrifice pool and bond it to their token they give out to people.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
I'll be shocked, but I doubt it. Now, whatever it will be something. But
there's some value there. Yeah, we're bringing more value to the chain. It's coming online. And again, it's some of that paper money because it didn't come across the bridge, but it's going to inflate some numbers for us again. So I think there's going to be a move in the price of Pulse and the price of PulseX because of these two launches that are coming. And the yields, if you go back and look at Dune Analytics and you look at the yield that was given to the stability pool and the staking pool, these yields, they were 5 figures for the stability pool in the early days, just like any instant launch, you're creating something out of thin air and you're giving it to people. It's the yields are going to be pretty significant. And if we do get a nice pump, I'll go back to the up token and UPX token. We're sitting on about 60 billion pulse, and if you get a nice little run up in the price on that, then your assets go up in value, and then that means your yield's going to go up in value. And so the buy and burn we're going to be able to bring is going to be very significant, in my opinion, for the up and UpX community.
I'm just looking at, speaking of things that may affect price and otherwise, PulseX got hacked for over $100 million. Richard's not your coins message. And of that, it looks like 10 million. Again, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going off some tweets I found here. 10 million hex from PulseX was traded over Uniswap to ETH. So looking at the chart, did price go down? I mean, this is, not that bad, maybe down a little bit, but how much effect does a hack? And then apparently they weren't a hex skinner. They weren't long-term thinking, because if they sold it all for ETH, funny enough. Anyways, anything interesting or otherwise thoughts on this, gentleman?
I mean, it was terrible, it happened, but just like all these hackers do that. But what happens when FTX gets their funds distributed? What's going to happen to the overall blockchain ecosystem? I mean, aren't they going to dump on everybody's heads to make their the depositors whole, or at least as whole as they possibly can be? So that's another thing that's going to happen in the market here in the future. Whatever happened to all the stuff from all the Bitcoin that was, that was supposed to go hit the market from, Mt. Gox and stuff? Did it ever get distributed?
Yeah, my theory on that is if I lost Bitcoin that, how many years ago was that? And I lost it and it was, $100 each, and you give it back to me and now it's $39,000, or even if I only got, a tenth of it back and now it's, worth $3,000. Am I looking to cash out and say I'm done with Bitcoin, or am I looking at that as a lesson learned and now I need to be decentralized and I need to keep growing? Because did those people leave the market, or have they been acquiring ever since they lost those? And what's their reaction to that loss? I'm getting the hell out of crypto, or I need to get decentralized, and then when I do get it back, I'm just going to add that to my DeFi bag.
Or they get wrecked again by going to Celsius or something like that,
Yeah, let's hope they learn some lessons, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't think those coins have a huge dumpamental like some people are prophesizing, because I think those people that got in crypto early, I don't think they ran away from it when they got their fingers caught in the door there, or the cookie jar. It's like, oh, damn it, I got slapped because I made a wrong move and I went with a centralized entity. I think the majority of those early investors probably learned their lesson, and they're still sitting in our ecosystem. They just gotten a lot smarter. So if they do get a little windfall of some of their tokens back, I don't think they just run away and dump them.
Just looking through, I was going to bring up the November 1,000 T-share challenge as well before we wrap up here, in case anyone's interested in taking it. Apparently quite a few people are interested in taking it, because according to the poll, only 165 votes. However, almost half of them, close to it, you got about 60, 70 people who are on board getting those T-shares. So I know 1,000 is a big number. A lot of people are trying to get 10 or 100. However, also in this poll, already there. So 25, again, people could lie or otherwise, but if we're trusting that anonymous polls are accurate in any way, there's quite a few people who already have 1,000 T-shirts. What is that, 25%? So yeah, like 30, 40, 50 people with already over 1,000 T-shirts. People locked up for a long time, or are just mega whales and could be locked up for a month. However, they got huge positions. What do y'all think about just the amount of money we have in this ecosystem? Again, we want to open it up. We want more people to come in. We want want to be trading Peter with Paul and all the stuff. We want everyone to come in, help things grow. We need more people other than just us Hexkins, and that were here before PulseChain and all that stuff. We need things to grow. We need products to help do that. We got a lot of stuff launching, but there's people here seem to be invested for the long term. Good or bad? What thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's one of Richard's more sticky. They talk about crypto being sticky. That was definitely the sticky tokenomic. Get people to lock up for 10, 15 years. They're not going anywhere. They see that. They see the money there. And as long as we run these cycles and we go up and back down and up and back down, but we're, trending upwards at the end of the day, more and more of the population will get onboarded into this crypto ecosystem, and they'll see what HEX does have to offer. You trustless yield, you can throw it over there. Now it is an inflationary token, and so you do need new buyers, which, shoot, Richard alone could be that new buyer. He could be the benevolent wallet for the HEX ecosystem if he really wanted to. He could take all that freaking money he has, create a yield, and just start eating HEX tokens like crazy. Or he could stake some of the HEX he has, and that would eat tokens as well, but it's taken away from the people that he wants to reward. So there's some games he can play over there in terms of game theory to keep his baby going in a positive direction for sure. I know Axis on a stream yesterday was talking about, those guys who have 10 million HEX, they could stake it for 45 days, take the yield, throw that into a 5555, and just keep doing that every 45 days. And then they just build themselves an infinite staking ladder out into the future, guaranteeing themselves, because that yield that they're staking for the 15 years turns into I think it was a 500x the number of tokens. So I mean, there's some education that needs to happen with HEX if we're gonna keep growing this user base from 100,000 wallets into 200,000 wallets into maybe 1 million wallets someday. We're still really young in this crypto ecosystem. I know a lot of people think that we've been in a cycle. It's like, yeah, but we're not 50 years old yet. I mean, HEX is what, going on 3 years, and
Four.
You haven't even had a 4 year. Yeah, you haven't even had a full 4-year cycle yet. So you can't go back and say, hey, what did it do during the first cycle? What did it do during the second cycle? You don't have that option yet. So it's still very young asset class.
10,000x and hopefully another 10,000x. You never know.
Well, I mean,
be amazing.
And like Alex has done a good job building like ICOS and Hedron on top of HEX. Now we get other protocols looking at pooling stakes, like with Stakehouse and stuff, and people are on Fair HEX doing things, and you got these different options out there building on top of HEX. Who knows? Maybe some smart person in Tetra will come and build things that will buy and burn HEX. You never know what the future holds.
I'm only holding you to staking ink. Okay, that's the only deal we've made right now. I need ink staking. The ecosystem needs this. It'd be good.
But we're going to offer. Once we get through, there'll be lots of tools though that protocols can utilize to help in the ecosystem and help their current customers. So we're hoping to facilitate that, and like with UpX and what they're doing, I'm sure they'll love to be able to set up automated arbitrages and stuff like that to maximize their gains and buy and burn. That's just going to make their holders so happy, and that's kind of where we're at. That's our position we're in. So we want HEX to succeed. We want to see more and more stakers. We'll have ways to automate all this HEX staking, in staking, hedron minting, COSA stakes and in stakes, and all the good stuff that's been built to really maximize your gains and distribute in DeFi as you see fit.
Yeah, because the IQ test between what Alex has built, with the HEX, the ICOSA, the Hedron, that's not easy to digest. And if you had one little automated function over in your Tetra program where we could just say, hey, you know what, go do all the fancy math with me over here with this thing, and I just have to push a button, I'm sure you guys will build that out, and that's going to be a very popular feature.
I had a Tetra question. Will Honda receive fees for his strategy on Tetra? It's funny, like there's going to be different strategies, probably named after different people. Where's the revenue share? Where's the revenue share for that, Neil?
This is actually discussed already, and I will reach personally and talk to him about it, how he wants to set it up. So we'll be honorable because it's his strategy, his brainchild. We're not trying to be greedy, We just want credit where credit's due, because we call it the Honda strategy. And everybody knows what it means, and that was his thought. So we have no problem giving Honda his fair share.
Well, I wonder if it just reminds me of the whole like brand, like what was it? Friend Tech was a thing where, like you have like the social media, you have a presence, you're worth so much ETH or something like that. And it's interesting too, like all these things are can be, or maybe they will, maybe they won't, but can be sort of backed by a brand, like, whether somebody creates a strategy or doesn't, or otherwise, like all the different ways to benefit from things you create. Now that we have DeFi systems like this, I can see that can see that growing, hopefully in a healthy way. I mean, I think the whole idea, you know, for patents and everything else is supposed to be encourage innovation, trademark, all it's supposed to be that way. Of course, it can get corrupted in a lot of ways. I'm curious to see how it works out in DeFi with that, whether it's, you know, anyways, that just reminded me of that sort of thing of how we're going to see that going forward in different ways, shapes, and forms. Hopefully in healthy ways, though.
Well, for us, like the strategies that are created, the community themselves and by their participation will basically, quote unquote, vote on the strategy and how successful it is, and therefore how many people use it and how much fees it generates for the authors. So it's going to be a community driven. We won't have any really say so in that. So if it's good and it's quality and it functions and people are happy with it and it makes them money, then they'll use it. And that's just, you know, everybody chases that APR, right? That's the name of the game.
PhD 805. Any new liquid loan strategies? A lot of us staked and have PLS.
Well, I mean, if you watch the stream from yesterday, I talk about a strategy you can implement using Omnus to arbitrage the price of USDL at launch. So that's the only new thing I've come up with, given what tools we have available at this time. So, but then once we were out and the Atlas is out, we'll have strategies that will probably be a mix of what like Haunted did, Hodrill did, what Red Squirrel did and stuff. We kind of mix them all together and have different flavors of those available for the public to consume for both liquid loans and Earn protocol, as well as Power Cities Core and their whole ecosystem. We'll be, you know, and PH ecosystem too, because we can interlink all these together and really maximize your DeFi yields by using the tools available on PulseChain.
Gotcha. Guys, excellent stream. Yeah, like I feel like we covered, got everyone, again, if you're interested in UPTOKEN, Tetra, if you're interested, talked a little bit about Tetra on this one. I'm sure he'll, on his closing statement, he'll have a chance to get a little bit more in, but we really went through put him through the ringer yesterday on stream, talking about all the new stuff and all the things coming up. Again, November 17th, next Friday, Omnus is launching. November 24th is when some form of Atlas, the platform, be launching. You'll be able to start staking and stuff like that. We hope those timeline does not change and everything goes well. So,
everything's done. Yeah, that's why the dates were given, because they're not going to change. Everything's finished. It's just getting deployed. I need time to do some how-to videos. It's just more of a practical thing now. But yeah, it's on mainnet now. It's just not available for the public yet because we're doing our final last little bit of polishing up, and I need to do the how-to videos. But yeah, Omnus is launching, like I said, on the 17th, and then the dashboard will launch the same day, which is the Atlas front end that you'll interact with Omnus. Staking will be available on the 24th, and after that we will have these strategies available coming out very shortly after that, and then after that we will proceed on delivering strategies to the public on a regular basis, built by me and Red Squirrel, Crypto Sloth, Kool-Aid and stuff, and Stu. And then after a certain time, we will deliver Stratus to the public for their public consumption to customize their own strategies and mix and match and how they want to do it. So,
but Neil, what about the meteor? What if a meteor comes? What if imaginary horribles happen?
Just imaginary horribles. We all got to look at, nuclear war happens. We're not going to worry about our DeFi. We're going to be worried about not dying. So
it's true. Priorities. I mean, some people will still argue over useless things, but most people probably try not to die and stuff. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say one other thing.
And then in terms of Up came out, it was the original of the two tokens. Up came out, and it's only going to work on liquid loans. It's it's only going to have stake Pulse, and it's done a 10x since launch. Nobody who sacrificed has lost anything, and when the benevolent wallet starts buying up that supply, we expect the price to go even higher. UpX finished its mint phase on November 7th, and nobody's in terms of tokens that launch below SAC rate, it's already at a 1.5x, and it's dropping down. 1.3 to 1.5x. It's been cycling up and down because you get them guys who try to jump in and they want to get that early gains and get out of a protocol. But yeah, we expect the benevolent wallets to go in and push those prices up, and we're expecting both tokens to outperform Pulse. So if Pulse does a 10x, you should see Up or UpX both do much more than that, just because of the tokenomics, the way it's designed, and that we always have that constant buyer of the benevolent wallet.
Sure. Oh, one other thing on when I asked Neil, So there's no test net people are going to play with or anything. It's just going to
straight mainnet. Yeah, we're going straight mainnet. We found out we just didn't need to. It was unnecessary. It works flawlessly now. So so we were on, like I said, on the Friday. The link will be delivered to you go to Tetra.win now. You'll see the front page. That's it. And we're just going to basically open up a link to it, and then there you go. You can have access to Omnus. It's that simple.
Sweet. And so Tetra.win for Tetra. Dave, where can people find more about Up and UpX?
We'd love you to join us on our Telegram room. It's TME/up UP. And hold on, this is Haunted's deal. And ABNS. Up ABNS.
ABNS. Okay.
Correct.
Up ABNS. I was like, if you got Up on /Telegram, congrats, because that would seems hard to do.
Yeah.
Those two letter channels.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, awesome.
Right.
Yeah, what do you what do you want to take us out on? We'll start with Neil. Just good vibes, Neil. Give some good vibes, you and Dave. Take us out on that.
Well, automation is coming. Y'all get your bags ready and have a plan. Don't press buttons randomly, and be wise about your decisions, and don't use emotions to make your trades.
Yeah, and please, anytime you do jump onto a new protocol, please double check contract addresses before you push confirm on that MetaMask. I've seen so many guys, the other day, 9-inch launch, right? My brother-in-law came by and he opened up his Telegram. It's like there were 3 of them already. I opened up one of them and it's like, yeah, that one's a scam. That one's got the wrong contract address in there. Don't jump into that. So, be very cautious about security. Unfortunately, we live in a space where the scammers are quicker than some of us guys building stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a couple of blogs I did last year detailing how to stay away from scams, how to double check addresses and not trust certain things, and dApps and revoking and otherwise. So yeah, rhmax.org/blog. Check out the malicious smart contracts one, and also the be vigilant on free claim. I've got a lot of data, but basically everything I could think of security wise. What's true, what's not true. If you go to a website to steal your money, no, you got to actually click a button of some sort, all that stuff. I detail it. If you want to understand it, check it out. Nice. Okay, Bets put the Telegram link in there as well. Appreciate everyone. Yeah, of course, stay safe. Yeah. That's all we got for you today. Tomorrow, got a debate going on. First time I'm hosting a debate. I've been working on prepping for that myself. I gotta do good debate. I gotta be a good moderator. So I've been prepping on that. Maybe we'll do more in the future. Actually, I'm curious if it goes well. I'm gonna maybe offer more gold key, which is like, hey, do you want to do it? Yes, that sounds cool. So get my feet wet on that myself. I've never been a moderator before in a debate, but not afraid. I'm very confident. We'll get it done and get some good information from it. Gentlemen, thanks again for joining me. Again, appreciate your time, information. Hopefully it's informative to everyone out there. Again, we want you to get your best information, make decisions on your own. And again, come back tomorrow, almost 24 hours. Yeah, actually 24 hours exactly from now. Come back and we'll be hosting Gold Key and KDP for the change debate. See how that goes. Guys.
Excellent. Well, Neil, nice talking to you. Max, thanks for having me on.
You too, Dave. Yeah,
of course.
I think we've talked before on Liquid Loans.
Yeah.
Or I think I recognize your voice. So yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Yeah. Glad you guys get together. And open mic number 11. We are finished. Scivive and 5555. We are out.